It's true the Wall Street Journal editorial page is run by conservatives. It's the only prominent conservative editorial page at a major newspaper in the country. But the reporting at the Wall Street Journal is as middle of the road, slightly left of center. Democrats and Republicans alike read the Wall Street Journal's news coverage. It's really good news coverage. The Wall Street Journal is one of the few newspapers I subscribe to, and I wish I could get a paper copy that showed up in the morning. If they don't have local printers in my area now, so if I get the Wall Street Journal, it doesn't show up until the afternoon, and I want it in the morning, so I read it on my iPad. It's great news coverage. It's about as reliable and fair as you can get. I've got quibbles with it, but compared to the New York Times or even the pro-Hamas Washington Post, I think the Wall Street Journal does a better job. And in its news section, not its opinion and commentary section, but its news section, the Wall Street Journal interviewed a group of people who were born on the same day as Joe Biden. And they asked each of them, some of them Republican, some of them Democrat, some of them independent, some of them not really into voting, should Joe Biden pursue a second term? Even the ones who said they would vote for Joe Biden said absolutely not. Even the 81-year-olds born the exact same day as Joe Biden, they share a birthday with him. Even the ones who supported him in 2020 and said they would support him again in 2024 said it was a bad idea for Joe Biden to run a second time. They're not wrong. Listen, I wrote this morning. You should know. Some of you won't be happy about it, but I wrote this morning. I said that Democrats, your president of the United States, your front runner, is polling as the most unpopular president in modern American history. There are venereal diseases that are more popular than Joe Biden in this country right now. He makes the Carter administration look positively positive. And he is tied with Donald Trump in the polling, who you Democrats believe is an existential threat to democracy. Even Democrats believe he's too old to run again. If you're a Democrat, you probably want to rethink having him as your front runner. He is literally tied with the most unpopular man to ever run for president. That's a big red flag for you guys. On the Republican side, Donald Trump is tied with the most unpopular president in modern American history. That should be a warning sign for Republicans. Every other Republican handily beats Joe Biden in the polling, Nikki Haley more than anyone else. And Republicans would rather argue the polling isn't real than realize that their frontrunner, Donald Trump, is deeply unpopular. And the only reason some polls have him ahead of Joe Biden is because it's the Democrats who say they're going to stay home. And if Donald Trump is actually the president, you and I both know they'll turn out to make sure he doesn't get back in the White House. Both parties are offering up frontrunners who are deeply unpopular. The most unpopular president of the United States running for re-election against the most unpopular candidate for president of the United States is not the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. It's the brain-eating amoeba versus the brain-swelling amoeba. And Republicans and Democrats alike are forcing the country to choose which one you want to kill us all off. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure where all paths lead to hell. I firmly believe if either party changes its nominee, that change is going to win. People are not excited about it. Now, listen, hey, you may be excited. You may love Donald John Trump. You may love Joseph Robinette Biden. But you are in the minority of this country. The Quinnipiac poll that has come out, 7 in 10 independents prefer someone other than Biden and Trump. Many of them might stay home, and then it's a matter of mobilizing the bases, and the problem is the Democratic base is larger than the Republican base. 6 in 10 of Donald Trump's supporters say that they are willing to consider someone else. They would be smart to. I don't know that the party's smart enough to change. I really do think, y'all, in all sincerity and honesty, I know some of you love Trump and I know some of you love Biden. The party that changes the face of its frontrunner to someone else probably is the party that's going to win, because Americans as a whole do not want to go through Biden versus Trump 2.0. It is the most useless waste of a sequel since Caddyshack 2. There's no point in it. All the warning signs are flashing that the American people are fed up and the parties discredit themselves. The problem is that the most committed members of the base of each party are committed to their frontrunners, and they cannot be dissuaded that anyone else could possibly do better than their frontrunners, despite all the data and all the evidence showing otherwise. But nobody wants to believe a poll unless that poll tells them exactly what they believe. And if the poll tells you exactly what you believe, you will decide the poll is right. This is why the warning signs are going off among Democratic consultants, because they tend to recognize that these media polls did get 2022 and 2020 pretty good. And when the media polls are telling you Joe Biden is tied with Donald Trump and you believe he's an existential threat to American democracy, you probably need to shove him aside. Not downstairs, just aside. The problem, however, for Democrats is this, in all sincerity and candor. You know what the keystone is? Pennsylvania is called the Keystone State. In an arch of individual pieces, the keystone is the central stone at the top of the arch that all sides lean into. The Romans figured out the keystone. You put a keystone down, you build the arch around it, and the arch will stay in place. You remove the keystone and the arch falls over. Joe Biden is the keystone of the Democratic Party. You have the tensions of the left and the far left weighing in on Joe Biden. He's doing his best to balance it out. You get rid of Joe Biden, who do you pick? The arch falls apart. The Democrats are betting the Republicans fall apart because there are so many Republicans, 13% of Republicans, and a majority of independents who aren't enthusiastic about Donald Trump. They think you keep Joe Biden in place, even though nobody likes him. So many people hate Donald Trump, and the people who really hate Joe Biden the most are on the far left these days. They'll come back to him to stop Trump. That's their calculus. It's all about keep the keystone in place so the Democratic arch doesn't collapse and allow the Republicans to squabble over Trump. That's their entire game plan for 2024. So if the Republicans swap out Trump, it totally collapses the Democrats' game plan. If Joe Biden goes away, suddenly it shakes up enough on the Democratic side that people start looking at their new guy. But there's a problem for the Democrats. You remove Joe Biden, who can be the keystone to hold the left and far left together? They don't have a lot of options there. Gavin Newsom's too far left. Who do you do? Who do you put? I don't know. That's a problem the Democrats are going to have to figure out.